everyone, my name's Caroline Wright and I'm a member of the steering group for the Australia-New Zealand Medical Radiation Research Network. I'm here with my colleagues Nigel Anderson and also Claire McLaren, who are going to give their top picks or favourite presentations for the Asmirt 2021 conference. So I'd like to take this opportunity also to let you know a little bit more about our Anzmrrn network that crosses Australia and New Zealand. The goal of the Australian and New Zealand Medical Radiations Research Network is to bring medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals together relating to all aspects of research. So we're a group of medical radiation practitioners who are volunteers with one thing in common, and that's a keen interest in medical radiation practice research. We've worked closely for nearly a decade now to create a supportive and inclusive network for anyone who's interested with any level of experience, who wants to learn a little bit more about research, who might want to get started in research or progress their research skills and research projects a bit further than they currently are. We also run conversations in research webinars throughout the year, and these run regularly and cover a range of different topics related to research methods or specific topics in medical imaging and radiation sciences, such as paediatrics. We've also got a website that allows anyone who is interested to connect with one another, to share ideas and experiences with research, and to become more informed about what's going on in research in Australia and New Zealand with respect to radiation therapy and medical imaging. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Nigel Anderson and I'm the Principal Research Radiation Therapist at the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre in Melbourne and also a member of the Anzmrrn committee. So today I'm going to present to you my views and what I thought were the top presentations for our radiotherapy stream at the conference. Okay, so the radiotherapy program was littered with a number of amazing talks, but the ones I want to focus on for this top five, in no particular order, presentations around that are applicable to most of our RTT group and really focusing on the patient and how we can improve the care we can give to them. So my first one was from the student conference, RT prize winners from Hayley Falls in radiotherapy for Indigenous Australians health. Hayley spoke of us, highlighted the disparity we currently see in outcomes for Indigenous Australians. Hayley discussed some of the issues associated with communication, healthcare, and things we must consider, and also tools to help us moving forward in this space, and really touched on some really important points and things that I was unaware of in the Indigenous health space. So a really, really great presentation. And it also got me really thinking about the wider population we see day to day and how we must adapt ourselves to meet the needs of individual patients. So a really fantastic presentation, Hayley. Next talk was the RT plenary session, which from Michael Vallock. I think most people it was voted the #1 talk by the radiotherapy stream, and it was a really fantastic presentation from Michael titled Beyond 2021, a vision for adaptable person-centered radiation, where Michael spoke about his experiences in Canada and ensuring that a new program that they've adapted over there in assigning patients clinicians to individual patients, and they follow them through their entire radiotherapy journey, as compared to our traditional model where patients will move from modality to modality throughout their care. And they reported some really strong benefits from that. And something that I think we really need to consider here in Australia, is this a way we can look at adapting the way we do things moving forward? So yeah, fantastic work, Mike. The third presentation was from Laura Adamson, and it was topic was establishing baseline measurements of safety culture and incident learning systems in radiation oncology. This is something that's become really important in recent times, and ensuring we really promote a blame-free culture and an incident reporting system that encourage us to really critique what we do and how we do it to ensure the safest environment we can for ourselves and staff, and also for our patients. So Laura spoke about the importance of establishing baseline measurements in safety in radiation culture and in our radiation oncology environments, and also discussed really personalising the RT infrastructure within our existing quality assurance systems to really ensure that RTs are engaged in the process and actually driving a strong safety culture. So the fourth presentation was from Emma Shearlaw, was looking at rapid access palliative radiotherapy service at SA Health, now and a vision for the future. And what Emma spoke about was establishing a process to make the palliative pathway far more efficient than what it currently is, and remove unacceptable delays for patients who are often in pain and feeling quite uncomfortable when they're coming in for palliative radiotherapy. So Emma described a process where patients were seen, simulated, and treated only within a few hours compared to something that might routinely drag out over a number of days. And this is something that's really important in really improving that patient experience for this particular group. What was also encouraging from Emma's presentation was they were looking to further refine this, to utilise the imaging technologies on the machine, that being the Comb MCT, to further hasten that appointment process for the patients and limit one extra interaction they'd have to have during that time. So to get them in and out the door as quickly as possible with as little discomfort as possible for them. The fifth and final presentation that I'd like to share is, really looking forward in the coming years in Australia, the introduction of proton therapy to our shores. So Nicole Zintara from South Australia spoke about how a patient selected for proton therapy, looking to the past and to inform future practice. And this is a really important presentation because it's not only valuable to those of us who will be working in proton therapy centres down the track, but also for the RTs across our entire country. This technology is going to have limited access as to who can gain access to proton therapy. So it's really important for us to know which patients are best suited. And presentations such as Nicole really bring this to the forefront so we can all get a better understanding of how referrals may work down the track so that we can really maximise the utilisation of this technology in due course when it does come to our shores in the coming years. So that's the 5 presentations from radiotherapy. And I hope you'll enjoy the conference and look forward to seeing everyone again in Cairns next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Nigel. A fantastic summary of all the radiotherapy papers.
Hello, my name's Claire McLaren. I'm a senior lecturer at Curtin University in Perth in Western Australia, teaching in the medical imaging programme. I'm also a radiographer working at Perth Children's Hospital. I just want to share with you some of my top picks from the Asmirt Vision Conference. From my top picks, I looked at various different sessions and I looked at the student prize winners and at the poster section. So starting with the poster section, I thought there was an excellent poster from Adele Doyle called Eyes Too Big for Your Belly, Reducing Fasting Times in CT. And this paper, the reason I liked it was because it is directly relevant to our daily practice as a radiographer and trying to make things better for patients and something that is easily implementable in your own departments, where she looks at very carefully looking at the radiographer, the request forms, the radiographer's looking at the request forms for the referral and working out whether or not you really need to starve a patient for 6 or 8 hours to get the answer for that patient. And they found that they could really reduce those starving times down to being quite minimal for certain indications. And I'd really recommend you having a look at that poster online. I then had a look at the student poster, so the medical imaging prize winning, medical imaging prize winning presentations. And I found this brilliant presentation by a radiographer called Jenny Han, who just spoke so enthusiastically on a new technique which has been introduced into Australia and now has kind of approval for implementation. And that was cryoablation for renal cell carcinoma. And this is an amazing technique which you can do. She talks about using it for CT, where you insert the cryoablation probes into a tumour using CT guidance, and then you basically freeze the tumour to treat the cancer. And she goes into great depth about how this can be used, and her enthusiasm is well worth having a look at. And it's a very excellent paper, and I can see why she won a prize for that one. Another session that I thoroughly enjoyed was the forensic imaging session. All the presentations were actually very good and really showed what radiographers can bring to the forensic field, which in many ways, a lot of people forget that actually as imaging professionals, we can provide a lot of vital information. And as people move away from agreeing to postmortems, much more imaging now is done for post-mortem investigation as well. There was a particularly good presentation by Flix Cox, who's a radiotherapy radiographer who you don't necessarily think of doing diagnostic imaging, but she was called in to help identify victims from the shooting in Christchurch a few years ago. She talks very well there about how you can share roles and help your colleagues, and it's a very, very good presentation. The other session that I thoroughly enjoyed was advanced practice. I've worked as an advanced practitioner in the UK for about 20 years before moving to Perth. And I'm very passionate about radiographers being able to advance their role and do work beyond their boundaries and do very well doing that. We have a lot to offer as radiographers, and we really can help our medical community. The whole session again was very good. There were presentations by Suzanne Rastrick, who's the lead allied health professional in the UK, by Derek Roebuck, who's a professor of paediatric radiology at UWA, and Michelle Monaghan from Ireland, all talking about their different experiences. There was also a therapy paper which was very good, but really not my field to comment on. Michelle talks about how they've managed to change legislation in Ireland to bring in prescribing and practitioner status for radiographers. Derek Roebuck talks about how he has supported radiographers in the areas where he has worked and where we need to kind of change some ideas of how things are progressing with advanced practice with radiographers in Australia. Suzanne Rastrick spoke about the more kind of legalistic side of it in the UK and what has been brought in. So those were my top picks. I really recommend, if you have access to the sessions, to go and review those. But as I say, they were all very interesting and it was an excellent conference. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Claire, and really great overview of the aspects related to patient care, the emphasis on patient care, and I think the roles of the radiographer within the multidisciplinary team and the different roles and pathways that the radiographers can take. So thanks so much for that overview.